Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Welcome to another edition of the Community Showcase here on ITV. This evening we're profiling one of the biggest organizations in South Africa, an organization that does a tremendous amount of good work amongst all communities in South Africa. I'm delighted to be joined by the chairman of the Board of Trustees of AWQAF South Africa, Brother Harun Kala. Brother Harun, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Community Showcase.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. Thanks.
Brother Harun, AWQAF South Africa has been around since the 2000s, so it's been around for many, many years. We know the amount of good work, the tremendous work the organization does in the communities, Muslim, non-Muslim. Wherever you go, you do see those AWQAF signs, and it brings so much joy to so many people, and you see the work AWQAF does. But for the benefit of our viewers, give us a brief history of this organization.
Look, we were initially founded in 2000, so this will be, and we launched the organization. So the idea was conceptualized in 2000. So it was launched around 2003. So 2002, so last year would be our 15th year anniversary, right? And alhamdulillah, if it wasn't for the community, and the large-heartedness of the community, we wouldn't be where we are. By the grace of God, many individuals, many organizations, many ulama, many professionals have joined hands with us to make a difference in the community. And as you know, the concept of waqf, what sets us apart from other initiatives, which are all beautiful and very, 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 very blessed. We have many lovely initiatives in South Africa. But what sets us apart is that ours is based on the Quranic tradition and the Sunnah of the Prophet of waqf. And waqf is an investment that's made, so the capital is intact, we only spend the income. And so this makes it more sustainable, because once you collect a certain amount of money, the investments are there in perpetuity. So it's almost like planting a tree and getting a fruit for many hundreds of years. So we describe it like an olive tree. If you plant an olive tree, it takes many years to grow, but then you get olives for the next thousands, more than 1,000 years from an olive tree. So we see there's fruit that comes from the waqf. And that's what makes AWQAF South Africa a sustainable organization. And that was the core of the idea. We have, of course, many great initiatives, and we thought this would add to the NGO environment in a more sustainable way, because that's what we require. We don't want stops and starts, but also the work that we do is more sustainable. And the areas of work that we do are more in the area of education, health, and leadership development. Those are the key areas that we get involved in. And any sustainable project that we think is going to make a long-term difference to the upliftment of communities. So and our whole payoff line is empowering communities, and empowering communities in a way where we don't give people the fish, we want to give them the fishing rod.
You mentioned something very important about empowering communities, and I've heard a few of our new politicians in the so-called New Dawn mentioning this, that the time for handouts are over. Now it's time to empower people, as you said, to teach them how to fish instead of giving them the fish. And in the South African context, for example, the importance of empowering people, we know from the previously disadvantaged background that the majority of people came from in this country. How important is it empowering instead of just giving out a handout?
Look, when you empower communities, you are uplifting a family. And if you uplift a family, in perpetuity, that family is out of the poverty trap. And that is the trick, I think, for us. We'd rather empower 500 families than give 5,000 handouts. And that way, these 500 become empowerers themselves. So it's almost like perpetuating the concept of empowering each other. And 500 would then empower another 500, and then that would empower another 1,000, and so on. So the multiplier effect will kick in, and hopefully we'll reach a point where, inshallah, a point of equilibrium where people are at a reasonable level within their lives. And there's so much need for it in South Africa, because we have inherited a very difficult apartheid era that has disempowered many of our people in many communities, whether it's psychological or it's educationally, but it is there. And all of us need that help.
Now, you mentioned some of the projects and some of the projects that you take part in. Something that really stands out is the educational one. Tell us more about the education, and we will speak about all the projects, but education, we know, is so important to solve so many of the social ills of the country. So what is the AWQAF educational plan?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, what we've said to ourselves, transformation through education. Because if you give somebody an education, you've given him not only a job, but you've also transformed that family. So education is one of our key projects. In that, for example, we have a mathematics enrichment program that we have started a few years ago. And we started in Gauteng. Alhamdulillah, now that education program is spread through to KZN and Cape Town. And what we realized that we are not just saying education, we're selecting the key areas that would make a long-term difference. So mathematics is a core area. And we have something like 2,000 this year that will undergo this mathematics enrichment program. And what we have seen, it has made a big difference in the results.
So this mathematics enrichment, is it for schools or for university grade?
Schools.
And we do know that South Africa does have a problem when it comes to maths and science. So, I mean, South Africa was probably, I think, one of the lowest ranked countries when it came to maths and science in the United Nations. So this is an important project, empowering people to improve their mathematics, which is so important in your real life when you go out into the world.
And alhamdulillah, we have measured these things. We have seen, alhamdulillah, in schools like, for example, in the Cape Town initiative, where there was a pass rate of below 50%. In mathematics, we're now sitting at a pass rate of above 75%. So huge difference. And we're looking at the principle of sustainability. Do a little bit on a regular basis, and that we feel that's going to have that exponential transformation that we're talking about, inshallah.
That's really interesting. And then you mentioned, although the education is very important, we are but stuck for time. So I'd like to speak about on the health side, Darul Shifa, the cataract operations. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, look, to date, we have a partnership between the Islamic Medical Association, the government, and AWQAF South Africa. To date, alhamdulillah, 5,000 operations have been completed. And I mean, we are totally, we just address the need. It doesn't matter which community it is coming from, and alhamdulillah, we're happy to say from every sector, the whites, the African community, the colored community, the Indian community, and any other community that's, in South Africa, we have been giving almost 5,000 of them, and we've seen many of our clinics. We find young people come, some old who are on pensions from the previously disadvantaged community, or even the white community, and we've just been giving, alhamdulillah, open-heartedly. The doctors and the government has provided us some of the facilities in AWQAF, and we're working a great partnership. 5,000. If you value that on a commercial basis, alhamdulillah, it hasn't cost us that much. But it's 50 million rand worth of operations that have been done the last 10, 11 years. Now, we could, if you trace it back, and that's why what AWQAF is doing through our partnership programs. We have a partnership program with the Islamic Medical Association. Many of them, I may miss some of them, so I'm sorry about that. But the students, the Muslim Students Association, we have a partnership program with ASRI, where we have the leadership development program, and that's very critical to the future, because if we're not generating leaders, then we don't have a sustainable community in the long term. And so that's also a key component of our project. And in ASRI, for example, in the last 2 years, almost 120 people have been through our leadership development program. Many of them are now sitting in councils, and they are from the broader community, not just the Muslim community.
It's really interesting, and I think we can carry on this chat for hours because of the amount of work and the interest that AWQAF has shown in the broader community, as you mentioned. We're going to take a short break now. Stay tuned.